Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy almost 4th of July. Hopefully everybody's got all your potato salad made. How can you have 4th of July without potato salad? Jeez. Good morning, I'm Pastor Phil. And yes, it's true, I am a pastor. I know. People go, oh yeah, that guy that does things on Sunday before Jan gets up there. Oh, yeah, oh that's Phil. That's okay. I know who I am. Hey, you know, we are so fortunate that we do have a couple of patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin. And we are also the only church in Richland, Washington that starts the services with the Doobie Brothers. Probably the only one in Washington, probably the only one in this country, probably the only one on the earth, but hey, we're good with it. So, John said, oh, thank you.
Best wife ever.
I know. I look for things. I can't see it. I don't see it. I'm back. Okay, I still don't see it. She walks right in. Yeah, it's right there. Do you hate that? What? And anyway, John Lennon. We've got this gift of love. But love is a precious plant. You can't just accept it and leave it in the cupboard or just think it's going to get better by itself. You've got to keep watering it. You've got to really look at it and nurture it. Yes, you do. And George, the only thing that ever came out of good that came out of religion was the music. It's true. Where'd my other book go? That's... Wow. Must have forgotten, not picked it up. It's sitting in the other room. There are more plastic flamingos than real ones in the United States. Designed by Don Featherstone, there are more than 20 million plastic pink flamingos that have been sold since 1957. Now, who would have known you'd learn something fascinating like that when you came to church? And useful. Useful, you can use that. But things that make you go, A fair request should be followed by the deed in silence. I did that one, didn't I? I did that one. Education is learning what you didn't even know you didn't know. Oh, and it's absolutely so true, so true. Our repugnance to death increases in proportion to our consciousness of having lived in vain. I know, a little bit dark. So we'll see if we can't change it a little bit. To escape criticism, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. That'll do it. That's playing it safe. Okay. We have got somebody. There we go. A minister waited in line to have his car filled with gas just before a long holiday weekend. The attendant worked quickly, but there were many cars ahead of him. Finally, the attendant motioned him towards a vacant pump. "Reverend," said the young man, "I'm so sorry about the delay. It seems as if everyone waits until the last minute to get ready for a long trip." Minister chuckled and says, "Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the same in my business." So, yep. Sometimes. Okay, Jan asked me to hurry it up this morning because she's got a lot of stuff to cover. So I wasn't sure if I was going to or not. She's not here, so. Okay. Things that you never wondered, but always wondered where that came from. Modern agriculture has not entirely conquered hunger, but except for the potato famine of 1846, the Western world has known few real famines since the 16th century. In that area, one disaster followed another. It seemed that things could not possibly get worse, but in 1586, grain crops failed throughout Great Britain. Thousands of people actually starved to death. Multitudes became thin from hunger. Food was so scarce that when a person managed to get a bit, he was likely to eat it on the spot. As soon as he had a piece of bread in the hand, he would thrust it into his mouth. Such hand-to-mouth existence was so common that the phrase came to be used of any substantial living conditions. So now you know where that came from. And like every other young person that there ever was, We all started that way when we became adults, did we not? Just, where are we going to get the money for that? I don't know. Remember the furniture you used to have when you were like late teens, early 20s, when you were out on your own? It was cinder blocks and pieces of wood. So, yep. Where it was. Oh, top ramen. Beans. Oh yeah, it was great stuff. Great stuff. I've done this one before, and but that's okay because there's probably people here that weren't here a few years ago when I did this one. So, this may come as a surprise to you for people not living in Las Vegas, though. But there are more Catholic churches than casinos in that city. Not surprisingly, some worshipers at Sunday services will give casino chips rather than cash when the basket is passed. Since they get chips from many different casinos, the church have devised a method to sort the offerings. The churches send out all their collected chips to a nearby Franciscan monastery for sorting, and then the chips are transported to the casinos of origin and cashed in. This exchange, of course, is done exclusively by the chipmunks. Yep. Oh, it took a while. Yeah. Let's see. Well, Jan wants me to play this next song, so I'll do that, and then we'll do our 4th of July thing right after that. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Janice, do you have the text? Because I have not gotten it still. Oh, okay. I have an announcement for Shannon's class, and I don't have it yet, so Janice is going to get it. Do you want to just do it, hon? Since you've got it.
I'm wearing out. Run in here, run in there. Okay. Shannon is going to be teaching a class in the next couple of weeks called Monsters Under the Bed, a parent's guide to helping our empathic children and teens. One of the most important needs in life our children have and teens need is sleep. Every school official repeats that they don't get enough. However, children who are sensitive have problems because it's easier to see through the veil or the gray zone at night. Scrolling. This leaves our children scared of the monsters under the bed, in the closet, and other places, and they feel vulnerable. Empathic children can help themselves, but parents also need to be aware of whether children are just having a bad dream or if they're releasing ghosts. This two-hour class is to help give your child and teen the tools to a better night's sleep. So you might want to participate in that.
Thank you. Nope, we're going to play the song now. Maybe. Yep, so far.
When you think you've said what you think you've said, somebody else hears something else or not at all. Happens. It's called life. No sense getting all blown up about it. Thank you. Thank you. So, have I got stuff for you today? Today is the first Sunday of the month, and we do a healing Sunday, meaning we do a healing process. Now, I've had some bad dreams about this. They were good dreams, bad dreams. Every time I was dreaming of doing this message, I would have this glob of thing in my mouth, candy. You know, remember those big hunk bars when you were kids? Oh, some of you are too young to know that. Laffy Taffy, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I had this big glob, I had to pull it out of my mouth and throw it away, and then I would start to say, and I had to pull it out of my mouth. So I have to be careful not to sugarcoat what I'm going to say today, because I really want to, because some of the things that I want to say might be a challenge for you to hear. I love to encourage people. I mean, this is not about me discouraging you in any way, but also it's important to take a look at the truth. And sometimes it's hard to look at ourselves or look at our history or look at our past or look at our lives in order to really clear from what was then. But if we don't look at that stuff, then we hang on to it. It's a burden and we drag around with this forever, this big anchor. So we're going to look at stuff. So I apologize in advance if it's uncomfortable to look at stuff. You don't have to re-feel or re-injure yourself about it. So just set that aside. This is not about suffering. I don't want you to suffer. But I want us to take a look at stuff. And here's why. We're going to do a releasement ceremony here in a bit. And what that will entail is letting something go. In order to let something go, it's really going to be helpful for us to look at it. And look at it without judgment. Look at it without pain. So just having a different view of that. You probably could easily list things in your life that you're ready to let go of. Old traumas, old hurts, old pain. Do that. Just write down. I want to let go of this. I want to let go of that. Oh, that person betrayed me. I want to let go of that betrayal. Oh, here, I screwed this up. I want to let go of that error, that mistake, that trauma. And you can use code words because, you know, God forbid somebody else know that we're human. What are some things that we would like to let go of? What's something you might want to let go of? Grief. Whoops. Ugh. Grief. Grief about what? Separation. S-E-P-E-R? I get to be human too. What was the other one? Who else? Resentment. Love it. Resentment about? What? Bad choices. Bad choices, regrets. Guilt. About bad choices. Hurt. What kind of hurt? Oh. Say that again. Other people, okay. Now there's judgment. Okay. And there's more. Fear of success. Ooh. Okay. And there's probably a zillion more. When we have hurt, trauma, situations in our life, anything that we're ready to let go of, when we have that in our life, there's energetically, what happens is energy becomes crystallized. It's kind of like crystallized honey. Have you ever had honey and then you leave it in the cabinet for a while and then it turns to crystal? You can warm that up and it's honey again. But when it's crystallized, it's really hard to work with. When we have crystallized energy within ourselves, it's really hard to move forward. So letting go disengages this crystallized energy and allows us to move forward in a more positive way. There's a lot of I don't know whether you believe in astrology or not, there's a lot of things going on in the astrological charts right now. There are 3 planets at least that are going retrograde. That means when we look at the sky, it looks like they're going backwards from their normal track. That just means that from our perspective, that's what it looks like. They're actually just circling around a different direction. But anyway, because they don't go backwards. But they appear that way. So things are appearing differently than we're used to. When planetary things go retrograde, it shifts their energy. And sometimes it shifts our energy so we get to look at things again. So here it is. We've got 3 planets going retrograde. It's time to look at things again so we can clear them out. So you have all this astrological assistance to look again and clear it out. Look at it again in a new perspective. Pluto is retrograde. And Pluto is about finding your personal power, and it's about transformation. So when you find your power, then you can step away from force. Other people's force on you. Have you been bullied? That's force. That's not power. And they take your power away. Finding your own state of power then can re-empower yourself and help change your world, change you, and move you into a new transformation stage. Neptune is about dreams, psychic awareness, and it goes. Pluto goes direct at the end of September. Neptune goes direct the end of November, mid-November. Neptune is about clear boundaries. Have you ever had somebody that just push? Okay, this is a real good time to take a look at that. Because often when we're pushed into a corner or we're pushed, then that sets us up for this pattern that we keep having the same kinds of things show up in our life. And then Saturn. Saturn is about justice, and so whatever's holding you back is going to come into a focus for you right now. So it's saying things to no that are not important, and yes to things that are important in your life. So if you're being backed up about stuff, yay, you're right where you need to be, because now we get to look at it and we get to shift it and we get to decrystallize this energy and move forward. So in that process, oops, that's not the piece of paper I want. Oh, did I leave my other piece of paper at home? I did. Okay, we get to do what's called winging it, calling in the angels, because I don't have my piece of paper in front of me. So here's the deal. We experience a trauma. Oh, sorry. Let go. There we go. Allow. Thank you. So we experience a trauma in our world, and often traumas happen when we're a little kid, or under stressful situations. And when we have that kind of trauma, then we take on a judgment about ourselves. Phil and I have been talking about this all week. For him, his dad always told him that he would never be successful, never amount to anything. And that haunted him his whole life until finally he just kept dealing with it over and over and over. No, I'm doing what I need to do. And of course, he would change careers or whatever. And life seemed to evidence that statement for him until he found a career he loved. And then it's like, that's just baloney. And that went away. He never had to deal with that again because he processed it out. I was having coffee with my brother a few months ago. And I said, well, I would do that, but I'm just so high-strung. And he said, high-strung? I would never consider you high-strung. I thought, I've identified with being high-strung for as long as I can remember. I went home and checked it out with Phil. Phil, I thought I was high-strung. Am I high-strung? I would never use the word high-strung attached to you. People are shaking their head, you're not high-strung. My first marriage. In a moment of trauma, or many moments of trauma, it was beaten into me that I was high-strung. I bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. Bought it. Believed it. And so I had this, well, I have to be careful of myself because I'm so high-strung. No, I'm not high-strung. So I had, okay, if I'm not high-strung, what am I? I'm powerful. I'm resilient. I'm intense. So I could reframe that in another way. There's another little gal, Phil and I have been friends with her forever. we went to lunch, and it was an event that she was a part of this event. They were serving lunch, and we were sitting there, and there was this guy, and he was all over himself trying to get her attention. Missed it. Later we said, oh boy, he was sure trying to get your attention. She says, what? I never saw that. And every string of men in her life were men that couldn't love her. And she'd just fall madly in love with them and try to do everything she could to get their attention. Because she had a pattern from her childhood that says you're not lovable. So she would create in her world, or only be aware and only have the perception that allowed her to see that she was unlovable. Now when she can shift that, love will happen. So sometimes those traumatic things will create this pattern of thought, whether intentional or unintentional, that we get locked into. And some of those patterns of thought will generate all of those things that we're ready to let go of now. We're ready to let go of our fear of success. Well, there might have been something in your past that triggered that, or told you that you couldn't be successful, or that successful people are mean. I'm not mean. I can't be successful. See how that works? We buy stuff that's not ours to buy. Hook, line, and sinker. So I want us to take a look at that, because that sets us up for patterns. And these patterns are crystallized structures within us that will resurface over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And we don't like that. And yet at the same time, we have so much blame on the person that delivered that lesson. Here's the hard part. Let me take the sugar coating out of my mouth for a minute, okay? I hear music. There's a little book in the back, children's book, called A Little Soul in the Sun. I've read that to you before. And it's about these two children, or two young souls, and they're in heaven, and one is deciding to come back to earth, and he says, I really need to learn forgiveness. How am I going to learn forgiveness? And another little soul says, oh, I'll come and do something so you can forgive. Would you do that for me? How cool is that? All right. And off they go. If that's true, I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it isn't. If that's true, however you received your trauma may have been for your soul's benefit. Now here's the problem with that. Here's the other part of that. The other part of the sticky, take the sticky out of my mouth. If you experience a trauma in this life, you may have been the perpetrator in a past life. So if you have somebody who's bullying you today, maybe you were a bully in a past life. And so you're seeing it from the other perspective. So not only do you get to heal that situation here, but you're also going to heal past life stuff. Big stuff. Big stuff. One of the things that is really important in the world for me is words of encouragement. It's really important for me to be encouraging to people. I didn't get that as a kid. So, matter of fact, I got the opposite of that. So maybe in a past life, I used my power to criticize someone else, or to be very critical or harsh with someone else. And I had to experience that in this life, and then choose it differently for myself. And now it's time to look at that old wound, that old trauma, and instead of judging that person shouldn't have treated me that way, instead of looking at that old trauma that way, I can forgive that person, and I can forgive myself and move on. So the crystalline structure that sets up when we have a trauma can be different depending upon the trauma. So if my crystalline structure was this criticism, then I would set myself up to be criticized. I would find people that were very critical to hang out with. You ever notice that you do that? There's wonderful people in the world. How come I always find the critical ones, right? Make sense? We set that up because this crystalline energy crystalline energy is resonating at this harmonic that's saying, hey, I haven't learned this yet, bring it. Dang, I want it to be their fault. Dang. So what we do now is we take a look at this crystallized energy and the pattern in our life, and we reframe it. We reframe it. So what's the pattern? What is the pattern? Can you identify a pattern? So the pattern in my life was being criticized. Oh, I got a lot of that. In my childhood, first marriage. Broke that pattern. Phil would never say a harsh word to me. He can get cranky, but he never is ever harsh with me. He's just not that kind of person. Because the pattern was broken. I didn't need that lesson anymore. I forgave that. I don't need that lesson anymore. Forgiveness is this really powerful thing. But now it's time to restructure that. I had to restructure, I'm not high strung. What am I? If you've been bullied, what's a new structure? What's a new way you could say that? What would be the other side of that? Because being bullied is about power and force. So it's about start over. For someone who's been bullied, perhaps they were a bully in a past life. Now they're seeing that what the other side of that coin is. I'll bet you those people have a real hard time standing up for themselves because they have misplaced or misunderstood power versus force. And when you understand that power is not forceful, power is strong. And when you have that strength, nobody's going to bully that. They walk away. They don't want to have anything to do with that. And it's just about a matter of being strong with who you are. So instead of I'm somebody's victim or I'm always being bullied or somebody's always forcing me to do whatever, if we can shift that into I'm finding a new source of power. I'm connecting into divine power in a new way. Does that make sense? Reframe it. Reframe it. And that helps clear that shadow, that crystallized energy. And then it can be released. Can't release it till you can shift it. Make sense? What's something else? I feel like I need to give you another example. What else? What's a pattern that you've got going in your world? I'm not enough. And that world has probably sent you a lot of times when I'm just not enough. I can never do enough. So let me give you an example. Let me take you back to myself because I'm being drawn back to that first. When I was growing up, I was called, you were stupid. Stupid, 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 stupid. So to reframe that for myself, what I came up with was my intuitive awareness lives beyond logic. There's a wisdom and a power in intuition. It's not necessarily logical. And logical people will think it's really stupid. And they get to. And they get to. That frees me, that frees them. It's wonderful. So, not good enough. Here's another thing. Sorry, being brought back to that. So, when stupid was the password that I used in my world, it's like your key card, your password, I would find myself trying things that I didn't fit for. I was a legal secretary. You don't use your intuition to be a legal secretary. I was good. I was really good at it. And I hated it. But we do stuff to put ourselves in a situation where that pattern is proven to us over and over and over and over and over. But if we shift the pattern, then a whole new world opens up. A whole new world opens up. So if you're feeling not good enough, maybe that's been implanted at you over and over and over, and sometimes in a traumatic experience. So then, you can look at what are you good at. So instead of I'm not good enough, maybe you can just say I'm enough. I'm enough. Sandra, is one of the most wonderful people in the world. This gal brings eggs to church. She brings cherries and fruit to church when they get a chance. She holds a class on Wednesday nights called Enter Change. Lo and behold, she's there for people. You're really good at that. You're more than enough at that. So how can you reframe this not good enough with this your eyes just opened up. Did you see that? Did you feel that? You stood up. It's true. Truth will set you free, honey. Truth will set you free. So what's the truth? What's your truth now?
Well, the truth is that I'm going to judge if we're not good enough.
Okay, so we have to shut the judge up, right? And we shut the judge up by giving it something new to say. So when the not good enough comes up, what are you going to say? I didn't get a ring true on that. I mean, I agree with the words, but I didn't get a ring true that that's going to shift for you. How about this? How about this? How about this? How about I'm really good at whatever I put my hand to? That gives you choice. I don't sew well, so I'm not going to sew. Don't do it. I don't visit the sick very well. Don't do it. Whatever you put your hand to, you're going to be really good at. How does that feel? Does that feel better? That's true. And that'll set you free. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough at the shit that doesn't matter.
All over the world on YouTube heard that.
Visitors, I'm so sorry. If you don't ever come back again, this was memorable, right? Right. This is who we are. I needed my notes. No, I didn't. Okay, so we just winged our way through that one. What else? What else do we need to shift on? Anybody else have an example? One more? One more? Yes, ma'am.
I'm bad with money.
I'm bad with money. Oh, I love this. Bad money. Shame on you. Bad money. No. How can you be bad with money?
Bad with handling money.
Do you draw? Can't get a grip on it. It flies away. Okay, so really it's about choosing wisely what you spend your money on, maybe. So perhaps you can remember a trauma that triggered that for you of where you felt like you had to buy someone's attention or you had to buy something to make yourself feel better. So if we can recognize that structure, then let's shift that into, so it's about feeling worthy. It's about feeling blessed. It's about having gratitude for what we have. And I know you do. I know you're a grateful person. I've walked with you. You're a grateful person. So how could we rephrase that in a way that empowers you to make a different choice? Let me give you an example of that. What? Yes? There's always going to be enough for everything that I need. I am not my source. Let me tell you a story. Facts tell, stories sell, right? Phil was gluten-free for like 18 years. And lo and behold, doctor says, you know, you'd feel better if you went gluten-free because with the condition that you have, it causes inflammation. I thought, oh, all those 18 years, I could never give up. I could never give up gluten. I love cinnamon rolls. I just couldn't do it. You know, we have spud nuts in the world. There's just no way I could give that up. So as soon as the doctor said that, something went inside me. And Phil and I were down here at the church. We were cleaning something, and he hands me a granola bar. Took a bite out of it. I spit it out before I even had a chance to think. I spit it out. I said, gluten? And he said, honey, I don't do gluten. I would never offer you gluten. Oh, okay. The decision had already been made. I don't know that I made that decision. I think that decision was gifted to me. And I think the choice is not in the moment, oh, am I going to have this gluten or am I not going to have that gluten? I don't even have that anymore. Went to the Mercantile. Oh, gosh, best ice cream in the world. Don't tell me it has gluten in it. I don't want to know. Oh, yay, safe. But we went past the place where they had all the breads laid out. All the fresh bread all cut up. Smelled so good. I didn't care. There people were having to have a bite. I didn't care. It's not an issue anymore. And I think it was a gift from God. It leaves us. And what's left is living life fully and jubilantly. So to reframe this, because it's been a source of comfort, I would encourage you to call angels of comfort to come to you and assist you in your world. And as a result of that, ask for that to be taken from you. Ask for that impulse to be removed. And it will. That happens. Because I couldn't say no to gluten. And then I could. The human Janice couldn't do it. But the spiritual Janice took over. And I don't have to make that decision, ever. It's just not a part of who I am. So, how about something to the effect of, I use my money in a healthy way. I use my money for good. I support myself fully. Deserve. I don't really care for the word deserve, because deserve means I have to have done something right in order for that to happen. I don't think you have to deserve this. I think you just get it. Okay, how about I get to be fully supported in my life? Or I am fully supported in my life. And I am not my source. I am fully supported by source in my life. Something of that nature. I'm not here to put words in your mouth. I'm just here to kind of make you think. You're the ones that have to come up with the words. All right, so you got the idea here. Have you got something on your list of things that you want to let go of? Patterns you want to let go of? Yes. So one paper is for the reformulated pattern, the new pattern. We're going to burn the pattern you want to let go, and we're going to come back and do a guided meditation. So I want you to have the affirmation or that new pattern stated clearly on the second sheet of paper. So you don't have to burn the whole paper, but if you have lots of things that you want to let go of,